Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Friday, September the 4th. We're going to break down this two-game slate. We do have a new two-game slate that we haven't seen yet. Milwaukee, Miami playing in Game 3 of their series. We've seen this game twice already. We've seen this matchup before. But the Lakers and the Rockets will be kicking off their series. We got Game 1 there, so some new matchups to talk about, a new series to talk about as well. Should make things interesting. How are the Rockets going to slow down Anthony Davis? I think that is something we will definitely hit on, especially when we get to power forward and we talk about Anthony Davis. They kind of got away with it last series. Steven Adams had some decent games, but isn't a guy that's going to go out there and play like 38 minutes. Anthony Davis, we know, is going to be on the court for 36, 38 minutes. How are the Rockets going to match up with him? Obviously, AD's not coming off the floor in crunch time, whereas Steven Adams, there would be lineups out there where Steven Adams was on the bench even late in the game, and we saw the Thunder go small with like Gallo at center to match up with the Rockets small ball. Well, AD's going to play a lot of center. You'll even see JaVale McGee and AD out there together, to begin the game. It's going to make things interesting. I think there's a chance we'll see, Houston maybe bring some guys off the bench. They already talked about it, potentially deepening or, making their bench a little bit deeper. We could see maybe some Tyson Chandler in this series. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some run off the bench just to defend this big Lakers team. So we will break that down. We'll talk about everything as we go through each position. We'll break it all down. What I see looking at this slate on Thursday night. These are my first looks, just what I see the night before. Before we do get started, though, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new here, I do upload NBA videos every single day to this YouTube channel. And when NFL season starts in about a week, I will be uploading NFL videos for all the showdown slates, for the Monday night showdowns, the Thursday night showdowns. Not sure about the Sunday night, but definitely Monday and Thursday night, I'll have showdown videos up. I'll obviously have videos up for the main slate as well. Love NFL season. It's probably my favorite DFS sport to play by far, just because, I think there's a huge edge in NFL. You see a lot of casual players playing NFL that you could definitely, take advantage of. It's a weaker field, huge tournaments as well. There's going to be a ton of overlay in week 1, so very excited for NFL next week. I'll be starting, the NFL videos most likely Sunday night, or most likely like Tuesday or Wednesday night before Thursday night football. I'll have my showdown video up for the Thursday night football slate. So probably this coming Wednesday, in about a week, I'll have some NFL videos start going up on the channel. Definitely check those out, if you are playing NFL this year. Obviously, I'll still have NBA videos up pretty much at least till the finals. I'm not sure if I'm going to make videos for the finals, for the showdown slates, but definitely going to have videos up. As long as there's at least a 2-game slate, I'm most likely going to have videos up. So still going to be grinding NBA, still putting up MLB content as well. I do have stuff available on Patreon. I do have MLB content over there. So if you've been wondering where the MLB stuff is, I haven't been making MLB videos on YouTube, but I still do post stuff on Patreon. I have my articles that I post Monday through Friday for both NBA and MLB. And when NFL starts, I'll have articles for NFL as well. I'll have core plays for every sport, NBA, NFL, MLB. I'll have core plays for all those sports. So definitely check out the Patreon. If you do want to get more content from me, the Patreon is linked down below in the description. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this slate. So at the top of point guard, we got James Harden for $11,200, and we got LeBron for $11K. So just looking at these two guys, I don't think these are going to be my two favorite stud options today. We do have some other guys worth paying up for. You have Giannis at $11,500. You have Anthony Davis at $10,600. I think I'd probably prefer both Giannis and AD over Harden and LeBron. Choosing between Harden and LeBron, though, if I can only pay up for one, I think I actually do prefer LeBron here. Harden's just, I don't know what's been up with him, but he just has not been good. Ever since Westbrook came back, Harden just hasn't been great for DFS. I don't expect him to continue to be this bad, but just 45, 51, 42 Draftkings points, really not getting it done. I don't know what the Lakers are going to do here to defend Harden and Westbrook. Harden's probably going to see a lot of Danny Green. Danny Green is a solid defender, but Danny Green's not going to just lock up James Harden. Dort was definitely giving Harden a lot of problems in that series. I don't think he's going to have as much troubles in this series. I still don't know if I want to pay $11,200 for him, though. Harden's not a guy I really go out of my way to play whenever Westbrook's healthy. Westbrook hasn't looked healthy just with how poorly he's played, but, I would say he's healthy in terms of, fully ready to play, but he just hasn't looked great. especially for fantasy. He hasn't really been getting the job done. So I do prefer LeBron. I like this matchup a lot for LeBron. Pace-up spot here against the Rockets. The Rockets during the regular season played at one of the fastest paces in the league. LeBron's been so good in the postseason. Really only had one bad game in that Portland series. Every other game he was over 50, or he was 57 DraftKings points or more in 4 of the 5 games against Portland. We know what LeBron can do. He can go out there and triple-double, can give you everything, points, rebounds, assists, can get a couple of defensive stats as well. Between LeBron and Harden, I do prefer LeBron, but I think I'd give the edge to Giannis and AD over LeBron today. That's just me personally. I like some of these mid-range options as well. Like Goran Dragic, I've been playing a ton recently, and I like him again today, even with his slight price slightly coming up. Westbrook, been really bad, but man, he looks appealing at 8,600. Got up to 34 minutes last game. I don't see any scenario where he plays less than 34 minutes today. I think his minutes are just going to slowly increase. Went from 24 on his first game back to 27 and then got 34 last game. I think it's very likely we get probably 36, 37 minutes from Westbrook today. I don't expect him to continue to be as bad as he's been. Just 27, 25, 33 DK points in those 3 games. Westbrook's eventually going to pop off and put up, a 50, 55-point game. He's got massive upside. This is a guy we saw consistently putting up 45, 50 DK points every night during the regular season. This is a different spot here against the Lakers. I think Westbrook can have some success against this team. They did play twice during the regular season for what this is worth. I mean, it's not worth much, but he did average 58 DraftKings points per game through 2 games against the Lakers. I actually like Westbrook a good amount today, 8,600. I'm not sure if he's going to be that popular because he's just been so bad, but he is really cheap. He's 8,600 on DK. Looking at Yahoo's pricing, you got Westbrook coming in at $38. Like, his price is coming down. He's eventually going to have a big game. I'm for sure that he's not going to put up 30 DK points every night. Like, he's just not going to be that bad. He's eventually going to have a night where he shoots well from the field, grabs those or gets those peripherals. We know Westbrook can go out there and triple double. He's got that kind of upside. So I do like him as well. But Goran Dragic, man, I'm just going to keep playing Goran Dragic. He's been so good to me. His price is coming up. He's 7K on DraftKings. He's $25 on Yahoo. But you could still argue that that's like a little bit too cheap. I mean, just in the playoffs, Dragic has been about as consistent as it gets. Over 40 DraftKings points in 4 of their 6 playoff games. Getting big minutes, 34 to 36 minutes every night. He's a guy that produces in all categories, can score, can get rebounds, can get assists, can get you a couple steals as well. I like the matchup for Dragic. I think we're going to see him continue to play well in this series. Milwaukee, they allow a lot of three-point attempts. They play at a really fast pace. That sets up very well for Dragic's game. I like him a lot in the mid-range. I've been playing him a lot recently, and I'm for sure going to be back on him today. Once his price gets to a point where I think he's unplayable, then I'll probably get off of him. But for now, I think there's still plenty of meat on the bone. At a 7K price point, like Dragic can easily give you 6, 7x value on that price. So I do like him a lot in the mid-range. Bledsoe, I haven't really been on much in this series. I don't think I'm going to be on him today. He was solid last game, but still really didn't get the job done at his price tag. Played 31 minutes, but just 26 DraftKings points. Like, it just seems like Middleton and Giannis are getting all the usage for Milwaukee right now. They're the ones putting up the big games. Normally we don't even get 30 minutes from Bledsoe. Like, it was a surprise to see him play 31 minutes in his first game back. Normally, even when he's healthy, he only plays like 28 to 30 minutes. Just because they like George Hill so much, they give a lot of minutes to George Hill. Like, we take a look at George Hill, even with Bledsoe back, George Hill still played 26 minutes off the bench. Was somewhat productive with 21 DK points. I don't really love either one of these guys. If I had to choose one, though, I think I'd honestly prefer George Hill given the savings. He is $1,400 less than Bledsoe. George Hill is minimum salary on Yahoo. He's $10 less than Bledsoe, so I think he's somewhat viable. He's probably going to play anywhere from 24 to 26 minutes off the bench. He's a guy that can knock down some three-pointers, can get you a couple rebounds, a couple assists. You don't expect him to be very productive, playing alongside Giannis and playing alongside Middleton, but we don't have much value on these playoff slates. It's hard to find value to begin with, so getting a guy that's 4,300 that's going to play upper 20s in minutes can give you close to a fantasy point per minute, can give you 25 DK points. I don't mind George Hill. I don't mind Alex Caruso either. We saw him have some decent games during that Portland series. Some of that was mainly due to blowout. I think there were some games where he went off in blowout run, or he got some good blowout run. I don't think it was these other 2 games though. Maybe he only played 17 minutes in a blowout, so I guess that really didn't benefit there. Did play 27 minutes in Game 3, and then in Game 5 played 25 minutes. I mean, this is a spot where you don't expect JaVale McGee to be out there much. JaVale McGee probably going to start, play his normal 6 minutes, not see the floor rest of the first half, then start the third quarter, play his normal 6 minutes, and then not really see the floor after that. We should see CARUSO play probably mid-20s in minutes. Rajon Rondo is expected back. Rondo is probable, so that'll take some minutes away from CARUSO, but I think those are, Rondo is going to mainly take away minutes from like Dion Waiters and from Quinn Cook. CARUSO should still get, probably 22 to 24 minutes, maybe more if they want to play small here. We could see some lineups where they go, or we're going to see for sure a lot of AD at center. Like AD is going to play a lot of center in this game. We could see a lot of 3-guard lineups for the Lakers where, LeBron, CARUSO, maybe Danny Green, all 3 of those guys are on the floor. That could be, their closing lineup could potentially have all 3 of those guys out there. If CARUSO's playing well, they will close with him like over KCP. I think Danny Green's for sure going to be in the closing lineup, but KCP is always a wild card. Some nights he gets 30, 32 minutes. Some nights he only gets mid-20s minutes, and you'll see a guy like CARUSO pick up some run off the bench. I think CARUSO is viable as a punt play. If you're really looking to go cheap, if you're maybe trying to pay up for 2 studs today, I mean, you're going to have to find some value somewhere, and we don't really have a ton of value to begin with. So CARUSO at 3,600 could be viable. Rondo, he's expected back, so we'll have to see what, his minutes are going to look like. We know what kind of upside Rondo has. This guy can literally do everything, can score, rebound, get assists. In 22 minutes, if that's, what Rondo gets here, I don't know what he plays. We'll have to wait and see. He will most likely be limited if I had to guess. Even if you get like 20 minutes from Rondo, like at 3,200, he can give you a fantasy point per minute and give you 20 DraftKings points in 20 minutes. So he's not the worst punt play either. Him and CARUSO, I don't mind his values, but that's probably it for me, in terms of guard values. I don't expect either guy to be like core values for me just because I don't think they project too well. But there is at least a little bit of potential for them to, put up good scores for their salaries, especially CARUSO. I think there is potential for him to, maybe get like 25, 26 minutes, and he could get lucky with maybe a couple steals, some rebounds fall his way, maybe knocks down 2 or 3 3-pointers, and he finishes with like 22, 23 DK points. Could be what you need at 3,600. So don't mind CARUSO. But let's move on to shooting guard. We'll talk about this position. So you do have Jimmy Butler at the top here, 8,300. Butler coming off a very disappointing game last game. After he had a really big game 1, put up 53 DK points in 36 minutes. Only put up 30 DK points in game 2 in 36 minutes. I don't expect Butler to be that bad. Butler's going to bounce back here. I still don't know if he's a guy that I want to go out of my way to play today. I think I really like these Lakers guys. I really like LeBron and AD. I for sure want to try and pay up for AD because I love this spot for him against the Rockets. You even have Westbrook. I know Westbrook's been so bad, but Westbrook's around the same price tag as Jimmy Butler, and Westbrook, I think, gets back to playing, 36, maybe 38 minutes today. So he's appealing. You got Dragic for $1,300 less than Jimmy Butler, who's been incredibly consistent. I still don't mind Butler. I just don't know if he's going to be like a core play for me, a guy that I have a ton of. I'm for sure going to have exposure to him just because it's a 2-game slate, and I'll have exposure to almost everybody, or at least not everybody, but guys that at least project somewhat well. Guys that are going to play at least 25 minutes, I'll probably have exposure to them across all of the lineups that I play. It's not like I'm going to full fade Butler. I just don't expect him to be a guy that I have in a ton of lineups. If he goes out there and smashes, I'll be for sure probably be underweight on him, and that'll cost me. But I think there's just other guys I'd rather go to in the 5K range. We do have like Eric Gordon here, Tyler HERRO. So Gordon I haven't really been on, ever since Westbrook came back. He's been solid, but hasn't really been, crushing for his price tag. At 5,800, I'm looking for about 35, 36 DK points from him. And he's been getting close to that, but, we haven't seen a big Eric Gordon game. He does lose usage with Westbrook back. With Westbrook off the floor, his usage rate is the second highest on the team. It's like 30%. With Westbrook on the floor, it goes down to like 22%, I believe. So Gordon does take a hit, but, he's still going to start. He's still going to play 36 to 38 minutes. On a 2-game slate, Eric Gordon is for sure viable. I just don't know if he's someone that, I'm going to go out of my way to play today. Tyler HERRO, I do like quite a bit at 5,200. His price tag's coming down, and we saw him put up a big game last game, or at least a solid game for his price tag. 30 DK points in 32 minutes, 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, Just an overall really solid game from Tyler HERRO. Even though he comes off the bench, they are consistently giving him about 30 to 32 minutes a night. If he's playing well, maybe he earns himself a few more minutes. There is a chance that Andre Iguodala winds up missing this game as well. Iguodala is currently questionable. So if Iguodala were to sit, that just frees up even more minutes. I don't know if that really benefits Tyler HERRO. Mainly we'll see a guy like Derrick Jones Jr. get into the rotation and get some minutes if Iguodala winds up out. But having Iguodala out is just one less guy out there that can, take away minutes. Iguodala can play the two. He can play shooting guard. We've seen HERRO, though, get time at point guard whenever Dragic is off the floor. He's pretty much been the guy that, replaces Dragic. He's one of the first guys off the bench. HERRO's been closing out all their games as well. He's been playing really well. I like this matchup for him against Milwaukee. Milwaukee plays fast. That sets up well for HERRO. Milwaukee allows a lot of three-point attempts, and that's something that HERRO, excels in. He's a great three-point shooter. I like him a lot at $5,200. The price tag has started to come down a little bit, so I think he is definitely appealing at this price. He's coming off a solid game as well. He's pretty cheap on Yahoo too. You look at shooting guard on Yahoo, you don't have a ton of options here. You're either paying up for Harden at 56, you're paying up for Jimmy Butler at 38, or you're probably playing Tyler HERRO at 18. You do have, Alex Caruso at $10. You could play at this position if you want to take a shot on him, but I do expect a lot of my shooting guard ownership exposure to go to Tyler HERRO at $18. I like him a good amount on Yahoo as well, especially because, shooting guard sucks overall. Wesley Matthews, I guess, is viable at $10, but I just don't want to play Wesley Matthews. I know he's probably going to see about 30 minutes, but God, he's just he's such a low usage player, just not productive for DFS. Mainly, I'm going to be playing a lot of HERRO at $18. I think when you factor in salary, he's the guy that probably makes the most sense at the shooting guard position. But then other guys we could maybe look to, Duncan Robinson, 4,600. Doubt I really go there. His minutes have been down recently. He still starts, but he isn't getting big minutes. He's playing about mid-20s in minutes. We're seeing Iguodala get a lot of good run off the bench. Iguodala could sit today. If Iguodala were to be out, that would be a boost for Duncan Robinson. We're seeing Tyler HERRO get run off the bench as well, though. If Iguodala winds up out, I think we get about 30 minutes from Duncan Robinson. If Iguodala plays, we probably get about 26, 27. I guess Robinson's not out of play. I like the same reason I like HERRO. Fast-paced game or pace-up spot at least. Milwaukee allowing a lot of three-point attempts. That also sets up well for Duncan Robinson's game. But at 4,600, I just don't feel like I have to go to him today. I think I would rather find the $600, try and get up to Tyler HERRO if possible. Now, Danny Green, someone I want to touch on. So I don't know if I've ever played Danny. I think I've played him maybe a few times so far in the playoffs, maybe once or twice, had some exposure to him. But during the regular season, I don't think I ever played Danny Green. Not a guy I like playing, but we don't have a ton of value on these playoff slates. Green's 4,100. He's going to play probably 30 to 32 minutes. They're going to need his defense against James Harden and against Russell Westbrook. He's had a lot of success against Houston as well. I don't know if this means much, but through 3 games against them, he has averaged nearly 30 Draftkings points per game against the Rockets. I think these teams did play during the seeding games. He had 20 DK points in 25 minutes against them, for what that's worth. The main reason I like Green here, he's going to play 30, 32 minutes. He's going to have to be out there to guard Harden. Houston does play fast, so maybe you'll see more possessions for the Lakers, more opportunities for maybe Danny Green to get some corner threes. That's really what you need for him. You need him to knock down probably 3 or 4 threes. You need him to get a couple of steals, maybe a couple of rebounds, a couple of assists, and he can get you 25, close to 30 DK points if he has a solid night. If he gets kind of lucky with the steals and the rebounds and assists. We know he's going to knock down at least a couple threes. If he gets hot, Danny Green can knock down 5, 6, 7 threes in a game. I like him at 4,100. I'm not a Danny Green guy, but on this slate with minimal value, I think he's definitely in play. He's really cheap on Yahoo as well. He is minimum salary at small forward, so if you want to punt the small forward position, I think Danny Green at $10 is definitely viable today. Like I said, I hate playing this dude. I feel like every time I play him, he just does absolutely nothing, so he's probably going to go out there and do nothing tonight. But I think there's a chance for him to put up a solid game. Going to be needed here. Should get 30, 32 minutes, if not more. He has to guard Harden. With him guarding Harden as well, there is a chance, you see him get a couple of swipes, could get some steals guarding Harden, who's a very ball-dominant player. Just got to really, just got to hope he doesn't get into foul trouble. We know Harden's really good at drawing fouls, so that's somewhat of a concern, but I do like Danny Green for 4,100 as a value, especially because, we have minimal value on the slate. Same with CARUSO and KCP. Reasons I like Danny Green, reasons you could go to these guys as well. KCP probably won't play as many minutes as Danny Green, but should still get upper 20s to probably like 30 minutes here. He's 3,800, also cheap. He could get lucky, knock down a couple threes, get a couple assists, maybe grab 2 or 3 steals. Like, there's definitely upside for KCP at a $3,800 salary. He could easily pay out this price, if he does knock down a couple threes and get some steals. So he's viable for sure. I feel better about Danny Green because I think Danny Green plays more minutes. So if I can, I would rather get up to Green. But KCP's for sure in play on this 2-game slate. Same with Alex Caruso. I think he's in play as well. Iguodala, I don't really want to go to him if he plays, but if he's out, like I said earlier, slight boost for Derrick Jones Jr., slight boost for Duncan Robinson as well. Derrick Jones Jr. did get some good run off the bench. I guess we can talk about him, when we get to small forward. He could maybe be viable today if Iguodala winds up out. But yeah, let's move on to small forward now. So at the small forward position, you got Chris Middleton here, 8,200. So I think between Jimmy Butler and Chris Middleton, when you just look at DraftKings pricing, these guys are only $100 apart. I think I would rather play Jimmy Butler on DraftKings if I'm going to play like one of those 8K small forwards. Like if I'm going to pay up for small forward and I'm not playing LeBron, I think Jimmy Butler is the guy I'd rather go to over Middleton. But if you look at Yahoo's pricing, I think Middleton is way more appealing on Yahoo. Jimmy Butler is actually shooting guard on Yahoo, and he's $38, whereas Chris Middleton at a weak small forward position is only $29. So there's big-time savings there. I do like Chris Middleton on Yahoo. If you don't feel good about punting with Danny Green, I would probably try and get up to Chris Middleton then if you can. I feel like a lot of my small forward exposure today, I'm either going to be paying up for Chris Middleton or I'm going to be punting the position with Danny Green. That's probably the way I'm going to look to go at small forward on Yahoo. Definitely like Middleton just because the position's so bad. I mean, he's been pretty good in this series, been pretty consistent as well. Last 2 games, 47, 41 DK points, getting 35, 36 minutes. Only played 33 last game, but I believe he was dealing with some foul trouble in that game, so definitely missed out on a couple of minutes. We should get 37, 38 minutes from Middleton here. I don't know why Bud doesn't, run these guys out there for 38, 40 minutes. Like, you're down 0-2. You need to start winning some games. Like, Giannis needs to be playing 40 minutes right now. Middleton needs to be playing 40 minutes right now. I think we're going to get 38 to 40 minutes from Middleton if he's not in foul trouble and as long as the game stays close. So he's for sure viable. Like I said, I'd prefer Jimmy Butler on DraftKings, but on Yahoo, where Middleton is much cheaper, I would rather go to Middleton. Then you got a guy like Robert Covington, who was just, ever since Westbrook came back, like Covington's just been a totally different player. 43, 41, 51 DraftKings points the 3 games with Westbrook back. I said this in my video, a couple days ago, and I've been saying it in my article on Patreon. Like, I think with Westbrook coming back, that actually helps Robert Covington. It allows him, the defense, they're going to focus in on Westbrook. They're going to focus in on Harden. That could allow a guy like Robert Covington to get some open threes. He knocked down 6 threes last game, had double-digit rebounds, kind of got lucky with the defensive stats. I mean, you don't expect him to get 3 steals and 3 blocks a game. He's not going to do that, but this is a guy that does, get defensive stats, can get you steals and blocks. It's not crazy to see him get 6 stocks. He got 8 the game before that, 3 of the game before that. He can rebound as well. With Houston playing small ball, that does allow a guy like Covington to grab more rebounds. I still like him at 6,300. The price tag is coming up, but I think he is definitely viable. He's not out of play at all. I think between him and Eric Gordon, I would much rather play Covington for a couple hundred more. On Yahoo, Covington's still pretty nicely priced there. He's $28. If you're not paying up for AD or Giannis at power forward, then I think you're definitely either going to play Covington or Crowder. Kuzma, probably not going to go to him, so it's mainly going to be these 4 guys on Yahoo. So I will definitely have some Covington on Yahoo at 28. I still don't expect him to be a guy that I have in a ton of lineups. He's not going to be like a guy having 60, 70% of my lineups. I just don't think he's going to put up 40, 50 DraftKings points every game. But it's not surprising to see him play well with Westbrook back. I think on the season, he actually, his fantasy production, his fantasy point per minute average actually is worse with Westbrook on the floor, but that hasn't been the case so far. Getting Westbrook back seems to have helped Covington, so he's definitely viable in the mid-range. Kuzma, like I said, I don't really know if I want to go to Kuzma. He's going to get good minutes off the bench, but you never know what you're going to get from Kuzma. Some nights he'll go out there and knock down some shots and get you 30 DK points. Some nights he just won't do anything and he'll give you 12, 15 DK points. I mean, this matchup should set up well for Kuzma, especially because, we should see a lot of AD at center, so we're going to see a lot of Kuzma at the 4. He's viable. He's not out of play on a 2-game slate, but still not someone I expect to be, in a large majority of my lineups tonight. Then you got, Duncan Robinson, who we talked about. Daniel House, with Westbrook back, I just haven't really been playing House much. Only going to get about 26 to 30 minutes. Not going to play the 38 to 40 minutes that he was getting in the starting lineup. Now that he comes off the bench, he is losing minutes. His production's gone down as well. Don't see myself really going to Daniel House. Talked about Robinson, talked about KCP. I guess if Iguodala winds up out, I don't really know how many minutes Derrick Jones Jr. plays, but he came off the bench for Iguodala once Iguodala got hurt, and he gave them 7 good minutes, put up 10 DraftKings points in 7 minutes, did have 3 blocks. He was playing really good defense. I think if Iguodala is out today, we probably get like 20 minutes from Derrick Jones Jr. if I had to guess. I mean, he's minimum salary. It's going to be really hard for him to kill you at minimum salary. Kelly Olynyk is also questionable, so I mean, if there's a chance you get Olynyk and Iguodala both out, I mean, that's a lot of minutes to go around. That's like, I mean, if just the top of my head, that's like 40 minutes. Both those guys were playing about 20 minutes or more a game in the playoffs, so Derrick Jones Jr. should get a lot of run if Iguodala's out, he should get more minutes. If Iguodala and Olynyk are both out, then I think Derrick Jones Jr. would actually become like a top value play. I don't feel confident in him because, in the playoffs, you never know what these bench guys' minutes are going to look like, but you can't run the starters out there for 48 minutes. You got to give some guys minutes off the bench, so I'll be keeping my eye on that Iguodala news and that Olynyk news. If both those guys wind up out, Derrick Jones Jr., 3K, would become a really good value play in my opinion. But let's go ahead and move on to power forward. So at the top here, we do have Giannis and AD. 2 guys I really like today. Giannis has been bad so far in this series. He has not been good for DFS. He's playing big minutes, 37 and 36 minutes, but only 47 and 53 DraftKings points. I was expecting a big bounce back game from Giannis in game 2, and that just wasn't the case. I still like Giannis today, though. His ownership was way lower than I expected to be. At least on Yahoo, I remember he was like 30% owned. I thought he was going to be like 50, 60%. But he was only 30% owned last slate. With AD an option as well at the top of the power forward position, like there's a chance you see Giannis come in like 20% owned on a 2-game slate. That makes me very interested in him. I still do prefer AD, especially if I'm just playing one lineup today. I think I play AD over him. AD is almost $1,000 less, and I love this matchup for Davis, but Giannis is my second favorite stud behind Anthony Davis. I do like him a lot here. I still think with him getting 36, 38 minutes now, I mean, they should be playing him like 40 minutes right now. You're down 0-2. You need to win these games. Like, you cannot go down 0-3 or you're pretty much screwed. You're not going to win the series. They have to win this game. This is a must-win for the Bucks. We should see Giannis play huge minutes. Like, if he doesn't play more than 36 minutes, I mean, I'm going to be very, very shocked unless he's like in foul trouble or something. There's no reason Giannis should not be out there as much as possible, when you're down 0-2 in the playoffs. So I like Giannis a lot. I expect big minutes. He's a very productive player when he gets minutes. I mean, we know the kind of upside this guy has. So I do like Giannis, but like I said, AD is my favorite stud on the slate. Just love this spot for him against Houston. I mean, I have no idea how Houston is going to slow down Anthony Davis. Like, he should just absolutely feast here. Love him on Yahoo as well. He is coming in $5 less than Giannis, so you're getting some savings over there as well. Like I said, I have no idea how they slow him down here. Should just be able to have his way. Should do whatever he wants against this undersized Houston team. PJ Tucker can defend well. He can match up with Anthony Davis, but at the end of the day, I mean, AD is too big for PJ Tucker. If AD, like, when he's aggressive and he's on, like, this dude is just one of the best players in the league in my opinion. His mid-range jumper is just so pure, man. He can get to the rim. He's so, like, when he's aggressive, I mean, there's just no stopping this guy. Like, he's one of the most dominant players in the league when he's aggressive, and he should be aggressive here in this matchup. I mean, Houston just shouldn't have any answer for him, whether it's PJ Tucker, whether they bring Jeff Green off the bench, whether they decide to dust off Tyson Chandler and bring him off the bench. I mean, none of those guys are going to slow down Anthony Davis. I love this spot for AD. We know he's going to play big minutes. Like, expect close to 40 minutes from him if this game stays close. I think this could be a series that stays pretty tight. Right now, I think the spread's 6 points, so Vegas is expecting a pretty close game as well. I really like AD. He's my favorite stud on the slate. I think he's the guy that I definitely want to pay up for today. Just love this spot for him against Houston. They should have no answer for him, so love AD at the top. We mentioned Covington you could play. You could obviously go up to Giannis if you wanted to. Jay Crowder, someone I liked a lot last slate, came through for me in a big way. Definitely kind of got lucky with a bit of a ceiling game from Jay Crowder. Did shoot pretty well from the field, 4 for 12 from 3, got 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals to go along with his 16 points. We saw Crowder play 36 minutes, though, in Game 2. Got 35 minutes in Game 1. I know Iguodala got hurt in Game 2, but they have been really liking Jay Crowder so far. I mean, Spoelstra's been giving Crowder big minutes, which is something we didn't see in their first-round series against Indiana. I mean, I have to assume that Crowder continues to get like 34 to 36 minutes. If Iguodala winds up out today and isn't able to play, I mean, I would just feel even better about Jay Crowder. His price did come up, which, definitely lowers my interest in him, but should get the minutes, 35, 36 minutes. He's a guy that can give you, about 0.8, 0.9 fantasy points per minute on the season. He can give you 30 DK points if he's playing, 35, 36 minutes. Can knock down some threes, can get those defensive stats, can grab some rebounds. I still like Jay Crowder in the 5K range. Even with his price coming up, I think he's still viable. I would definitely rather play him over Kuzma. I'd rather play him over Daniel House as well. Kelly Olynyk, an injury we need to watch. He is questionable. I think if he winds up out, that does benefit. Bam should play a few more minutes. He should just get as many minutes as he can handle. But that does benefit Derek Jones Jr. I mean, if Iguodala and Olynyk are both out, like I said, Derek Jones Jr., 3K, stone minimum. I'm going to like him a lot as a value play. He should get at least 20 minutes if both those guys wound up out. He wasn't playing at all before, but whenever Iguodala got hurt last game, Derek Jones Jr. did come off the bench and get some good run. Olynyk's been playing, I believe, about 20 minutes a game. 16 minutes last game, 8 minutes a game before that. So he's been getting about 15, 16 minutes on average. Iguodala's been playing about low 20s, so that's 35, 36 minutes that have got to go somewhere. I think Derek Jones Jr. gets a good amount of those minutes. Maybe you see some of the starters pick up a few more minutes. Maybe you see them bring Miles Leonard off the bench, but I doubt they would do that. Derek Jones Jr. should be the biggest beneficiary there. So he's someone I'm definitely going to like today. Depending on what happens in Miami, that'll for sure be something to watch heading up to lock. First game on the slate, so we should have that news before lock. But talking about center real quick, guys, before we end the video. So at the top, you got Bam Adebayo for 8K here. Adebayo, he's still the top center on the slate, in my opinion. It's just a matter of can you fit him in or not. I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to play Adebayo. He's not going to be one of the first guys in my lineup, but I'm going to have a good amount of exposure to him just because the center position's so bad. I mean, you're not playing, any of these guys under 4K. I doubt you're going to play Dwight Howard. Who knows how many minutes he gets here. Probably gets maybe 20 minutes at the most, if I had to guess. I don't think this is a spot where they're just going to run Dwight Howard out there for 26 minutes. Seems unlikely. We should see Anthony Davis playing a lot of center here. So I don't really think I want to play Dwight Howard. JaVale McGee, he's just getting 12 to 14 minutes. That's literally all he plays. He plays 7 minutes to start the first quarter, plays 7 minutes to start the third quarter, and that's literally all he's going to play most likely. So really tough to go to JaVale McGee. So you really only have 4 playable options at center, and I don't even know if Jeff Green's playable right now. Jeff Green, we don't know what his minutes are going to look like, just 18 and 21 minutes the last game, so he's hard to trust right now. So, really, you're either playing Bam, Brook Lopez, or PJ Tucker. So if you can pay up for Bam, he's obviously a good option. Brook Lopez, I haven't really been on at all so far in the playoffs. He's got off to some hot starts the last 2 games, but really, he kind of cools off in the second half. I'm probably going to have some exposure to Brook Lopez just because the center position so weak, so few options. I have to get some exposure to Lopez. I can't just go all in on Adebayo or all in on PJ Tucker. I do want to mix and match my exposure. So Brook Lopez, he'll probably be my lowest owned center between those 3 guys, but he'll still be in my player pool for sure. Rarely is Brook Lopez someone you have to win a tournament. Rarely does Brook Lopez go out there and break the slate, but you have 3 options at center. You got to play somebody. So Lopez is for sure viable, but I think PJ Tucker is actually my favorite center today, which is gross to say, but he's been good lately, man. He's getting big minutes as well, which is something we always know. PJ Tucker, especially with how Jeff Green is not getting minutes right now. Jeff Green was kind of taking minutes away from Tucker at some point, or at some stages in the games. We saw Robert Covington losing minutes as well, but it seems like PJ Tucker is going to be locked in for his 38 to 40 minutes. I assume he guards Anthony Davis whenever Davis is on the floor. He's their best shot at slowing down Anthony Davis. PJ Tucker, he's not big, by any means. He's not in terms of height advantage. AD has a 5-6 inch height advantage over PJ Tucker, but PJ Tucker isn't going to back down to anyone. He's going to go out there and try his hardest to just slow down AD. So there is some upside for him when he's playing, 40 minutes a night, going to be guarding Davis, maybe gets a couple of steals. Maybe since he'll be under the basket guarding Davis, he'll be able to grab some rebounds. I don't love playing PJ Tucker at nearly 5K, but when he's going to play 40 minutes, he's been pretty good so far. I think he's actually viable on a short 2-game slate. I like him at 4,800 on DK. He is very cheap on Yahoo. I think that's where he really looks good. $12 coming in cheaper than Jeff Green on Yahoo. I think PJ Tucker, if you're not paying up for Bam or Brolo, PJ Tucker at $12, definitely a good option to go to. Would I be surprised if PJ Tucker goes out there and plays 40 minutes and gets 15 DraftKings points? No, I wouldn't be surprised at all because he's done it multiple times. But still, 38 to 40 minutes, there's potential for him to at least give you, maybe knock down a couple corner threes, grab close to 10 rebounds, get a couple of steals, maybe a few assists. I mean, he can at least give you a score that doesn't absolutely kill you. PJ Tucker's not going to go out there and win you a tournament and break the slate and drop 45 DK points, but if he gets 25 tonight, honestly, with how bad the center position is, he could be the best center play on the slate when you factor in points per dollar. Because let's say Bam goes for 40, Brolo goes for 30, and then PJ Tucker goes for 25. I mean, depending on how scores look at other positions, PJ Tucker could be the guy that winds up in the winning lineup. So, yeah, I do like PJ Tucker tonight. Haven't been on him much, but definitely like him here. That's really it for me at center, though, guys. I think I'm really going to just play Brolo, Adebayo, and PJ Tucker here. Doubt I go to Jeff Green. Doubt I go to Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee. Really no cheap value, so that's what I'm liking at center, and that's kind of what I'm liking for today's slate. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I really do appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button before we get out of here. Hit the subscribe button as well. As always, I do appreciate that, guys. We are getting close to 20,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Click that notification bell as well, so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You'll never miss out on any of my new videos. Got new videos dropping every day. Gonna have 2 videos a day once NFL starts, and I'm able to start uploading NFL content. I'm very excited for that. But yeah, guys, check out the Patreon as well. It's linked down below in the description. If you want to get more content from me, you can check out the Patreon. But good luck tonight. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.